Here we go. I'm just playing the toy box while I'm waiting. Of course, I still have my gift from Azeroth. Never getting rid of it now. You messed up, Blizzard, giving me this for good. I'll make sure I get the toy on an alt, but this character is going to keep it forever. If it had some negative effect on it, then it would get rid of it, but it's actually only positive. I like the look, and I also like that it shows you dialogue, which you can't see anywhere else. Tree mode. I just play in my toy box. I love these transformation toys. I just wish they all lasted longer. This one gives you underwater breathing and underwater walking, so I gotta remember that. I'm a crab, yo. Crab shaman. Oh, that changes your spirit healer. I should do that more often. I like that. Berkey Black Hearts. I should actually go outside where the lighting is better. I want that mount pretty badly. Mechagon is too much of a pain in the butt to get the achievements, and there's so many rare drops now. Like, I made a pact with myself a long time ago to not go after rare drop mounts anymore, because my luck is just abysmal. I never get the mount to drop. I still don't even have the Eye of Sulphurous for Sulfuron, and I've run Molten Core like a total of like 140 times or something, and it's just not worth it. I'm a ghost. Watch it. Yeah, did you ever get the Raven Lord? Anzu? That sucks. And that was a Burning Crusade one too, so like you had even more time than some of the stuff that I was going after. It's just not worth it. Especially something like that you can farm every day. At least if it's one of the once a week bosses, you know, you're like, okay, you can farm it on all your ults, I guess. But I'm just not, that's not what I play the game for. I was a mount collector until I realized I was starting to get into the zone where you don't have anything to do. Like, you can't, there's no way to get anything else without luck, and I'm not about that. Give me a currency that I can earn. Dark Ranger. Some of these transformations are actually pretty good. I actually tried to favorite all the transformation toys. Oh yeah. See, this one lasts for an hour. That's a pretty good transformation toy, in my opinion. That's one I would wear a lot. Oh, it only lasts for 30 minutes, has a 1 hour cooldown, so you have a half hour of downtime. Yeah. You don't let them know that a toy is actually good. And then there's my old school engineering teleports, which I even forgot now that flying is in the old world. I haven't used these probably since Wrath of the Lich King. Because I've used this Everlook, I used to use that actually a lot. Area 52, I used to use that a lot too when I was doing my Burning Crusade reps. Oh. This one's a pretty good transformation as well, although most of these transformations only last 5 or 10 minutes. They look good though. I would love to have some of these as like way longer transformations. That's what I have. Of course, there's the Yield Iron Boot Flask, which I used to use actually all the time. I used to, in Wrath, of the Lich King, I had this on pretty much all the time. I had it on my hotbar so I could put it back on because I'm pretty sure the cooldown matches the. No, it doesn't. So you can only have it on 1/6 of the time. The party mask. Not great uptime, but does look good. You get haunted. There's a lot that have to do with ghosts, which I think is pretty cool. And I think some of them came from archaeology. I haven't seriously done archaeology in this game since Cataclysm, though, because they kept making the rewards worse and worse. And the good rewards are like, you are so unlikely to get them that there's no point. Once again, the luck factor comes into play. Molly, that freaking mailbox has saved my junk. Engineering used to be so good. Like, they had so much more useful toys. Think of how many people are still using G's from Wrath of the Lich King, which was a long quest line and some luck to get. And they're still using him because it's the best repair bot in the game still. Infinitely reusable, had a quest line, so not like, unless you were an engineer in Wrath of the Lich King, you probably don't have it. Oh yeah, I did. Now that was one thing I really liked about Legion was archaeology had those weekly quests where you were guaranteed the reward if you did the weekly. That's what I liked. So I did get that, and in fact he's in my favorite mounts here somewhere. I have all mechanical favorites and then the moose. Because it's awesome. Yeah. Moose boy. And with this new computer, I start to see just how pretty WoW can be. Because, you know, my old piece was built in 2008. And I was running WoW on very low settings. And now I see, like, man, things can look pretty good if you have a good computer. I mean, not to say it's the best looking game ever. It's definitely not. But it's at least pretty decent. What do we have here? I got Ghost, another Ghost one. I feel pretty. Why did I favorite that? That doesn't do anything except make sparkles. So, oh, the Raven Bear. Yes. Give me some antlers. It takes my gift of N'Zoth away. That's interesting. There we go. Robo Gnome. I've used this one before. I need to keep the sparkles favorited? Okay. Well, if you insist. The unicorn mount I'm just about to get. It's ugly as sin. I'm probably going to put it on my favorites anyways just to flex, but I mean, it's not good. You and I both know it's not a good looking mount. This one is old. Stave of Fur and Claw. That's from like when they first added toys. I think it was, you could have it in your inventory before the toy box existed. In fact, they converted it into a toy. Yeah, dude, there should have been a unique mount for this, or at least one that looked good, you know? I think originally it was like a Phoenix recolor, which would have been vastly preferable to this. At least it would be a good looking recolor instead of this crap. I'm complaining about it, but look who farmed 100 Exalted reputations. I mean, I've been farming rep. That's always been my goal in this game, so it's whatever. I'm a wisp. I'm a wisp. Well, there's no need to farm reps in Classic because they don't give you anything good. And at any rate, some of the Classic reps are easy. Some of them are surprisingly difficult. In fact, I'm actually missing one. I'm missing one rep from Classic, which is not able to be gotten anymore. There's that Syndicate. You can never get it. Just be hated forever. But yeah, I'm missing the Chendralar. it was removed from the game before I could get it, and that's no good. So that's goodbye. I'm actually gonna show this off once maybe more people come or after I get the achievement. So let me open up. Look behind the curtain here. Open up all the categories. There's the Wormhole Centrifuge, which is weird. Warlords of Destruction. Argus. Kulturas has been very useful because like 9 times out of 10 it takes me to Mechagon, so it's whatever. I haven't used the Wormhole Generator's Zandalar at all yet. Northrend was a good one. And it lets you pick the destination. That was good about Northrend. It lets you pick the zone at least. Whereas Pandaria is just like, goodbye. I got a legendary Hearthstone card. Ho ho. We get to display a figure from my collection, huh? Okay. King Mechagon. You know, I gotta say, I haven't done the Mechagon dungeon yet, but it is... Mechagon's design is pretty good. King Mechagon himself, I like it. For someone who has been engineering for so long in this game, I'm kind of surprised, but, you know. I put that black ice on. You know what I'm saying? And that's a toy that stays on forever. It's like, okay, put this big ring on, stays on forever, shines on your finger. 2-minute cooldown. Like, what? What were they thinking? Like, why do you have an appearance toy you can only use in Draenor? That makes no sense. Oh, snap. I missed one. This one is also a Transformer now. Oh, dang! Let's tap that pony keg! I kind of forgot I had some of this stuff. Yeah, strong alcohol. Let's go. Let's go back to the EQ days. Get blitzed. That's the only reason getting drunk exists in WoW was because EverQuest had it, I'm pretty sure. Oh, I'm stunned and puking. There we go. Just keep drinking like every good binge drinker. Oh, there's another transformation that I forgot I had. Yeah, super drunk in EverQuest was funny. And your character would weave around. I do miss it a little bit. I do have the crystalline campfire favorited because I like the way it looks more than the regular campfire. Now here's a boot smoldering toy that you can do anywhere. So what was the point of having the other one locked to Draenor? there's the daily reset. That's what I was waiting for. So let's go. Well, let me get undrunk first. That would be good. Does it actually still work? What does it do? Oh, you can't actually use it. So we're gonna do that. I can't believe I had so many transformation things and I didn't really know that. There's a Hearthstone. There's a toy that causes you to suicide too. I forget which one it is.
He's too far away.
What's this? Huh. It's a cinematic watcher. Interesting. That's pretty cool. Nice of them to put that in. Oh snap! Mini Zep. Forgot all about it. My Mini Zep is drunk. I'm just gonna put down a whole bunch of toys here and see if anybody notices. Let's do it. Put all the toys. Interesting, the Rust Bolt banner shares the cooldown with something else. I'm less drunk now. You need that soft foam sword. I actually used that in some Ulduar runs to make sure I didn't kill the stuff. There's so many toys. Wow. Suspicious crate. I do have that for roads. There's a toy that's food. That's so weird. Golden banana. Spirit of dancing is happening. Rip Ysera. The never-ending toy chest was very popular in Wrath. I feel like Wrath the Lich King was the last time players actually like interacted with each other, basically, in cities. So you saw a lot of toy use because they had just put the toy box in. I do like that. It was a time you missed, like you'd see weird stuff happening in town, and now you're not in town enough to see anything happening. I turned everybody into a moonkit. I don't understand. We got the trap treasure chest. Bada bing. Don't hit it, man. Let's go. Oh, there's another pretty. That actually is good for resto. Or throw the carp. That wind-up train wrecker! Yes! Chugga 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 choo choo! Okay. The rocket helmet, yes. Let's go! Oh, there's the top. I forgot about that as well. The moonkin that I summoned are all forced to dance as well, which is hilarious. I got so much stuff on right now. Let's take the appearance stuff off me. I'm listening to the music. Your head is warmer than the ground. There's a feather on my head. I think they're putting it on me though. I'm turning the NPCs into Moonkin too. That's hilarious. I actually don't need any of the actual quests. I only need the world quests now. So, dude, drop in the toy train at the beginning of a dungeon and at the Wintergrass portal. That will never happen again. You know what I mean? Those are game experiences that only happened if you were playing at that time. Especially now that they nerfed the wind-up train now. So, I'm still kind of drunk, actually. I didn't realize it would get this drunk. We're gonna get Vim. Let's go. I'm not gonna get any quests. I don't need any quests. Just let's roll. Oh, I'm drunk. I'm drunk still. Didn't know. Let's get the supplies. That's a quick one. Woo!
Seize those supplies! Don't let the Naga have any advantage!
I mean, what are the Naga really going to do with our supplies, though? Do they even eat the same stuff or use the same equipment? I guess they use the same weapons, kind of. Although they've got what's-her-face from Kulturas making weapons for them, which I don't... I missed the part of the story where that happened, somehow. Dude, it's a physiology thing, man. They don't have legs. They can't use human equipment. Or they can't use human pants, at least. Although I guess some Naga do have legs and or tentacles. They're a very diverse species when you come to think about it. Especially when you think, okay, so if Naga were alive... If the Naga were alive when they got transformed, that means they were all night elves. So when they got transformed, did they all become the same type of Naga and then like the different Naga that are here now are the ones that maybe were born later as different like fish varieties and different like octopus and stuff, or when they got transformed, did they all get transformed into different stuff? You know, like Ashara doesn't look the same as other Naga, but she is the OG Naga, so it's a little weird. The lore there's a little fun, a little wiggly. This guy drops a pet, which I don't have, and since I'm here, I can't. In Mechagon, killing rares gives you rep, but here it doesn't, I don't think. So this is just messing around because he was here and someone was fighting him already. I tried to solo this guy, and man, Shaman are just not cut out for tanking. I wish they were. Yeah, let's talk. Oh, my inventory. Ooh, don't look at that. Embarrassing. Let's talk about how Blizzard put 4 specs on Druid, but won't put 4 specs on Shaman. Even though it's right there. They have 4 elements. Earth element should be tanking. They already have water element as healing. Air element as elemental, or as a enhancement, and fire element as elemental. Like what? Just put in the 4th spec. There's no reason not to. It goes perfectly with the fact they've got 4 elements. You have earth elemental to tank when you're, you know, now that they gave it to every spec instead of just giving it to elemental spec, but like that's not the same as tanking yourself, and it doesn't work that long, especially since it's kind of awkward to heal a thing. Yeah, Naga who drop boots were just holding on to them for their buddies. That's what it is. This quest was really frustrating before I had flying, but now that I have flying, it's one of the better ones. There's a lot of quests like that in both Mechagon and here, where it's like, oh, here's the quest that's going to be really, really annoying, but if you have flying, then it's basically effortless. Yeah, I was very slow on this rep grind just because, like, if a quest was annoying, I just didn't do it. Like, normally, I try to maximize my rep gain per day when a new rep comes out, but these, I was just like, you know, screw it. This is not... if it's too annoying, I'm just not going to do the quest. I'll just wait longer. It's fine. I need to make a quest item macro so I can quit clicking them up there. Cool, didn't get in battle. With my new mouse, I finally added a hotkey for mounting, and I still sometimes try to click it just because of muscle memory. Boom. There it is. 100 Exalted Reputations. Thank you for the grats. Let's check out the goods. So, it doesn't fly. That's first off. You get 100 Exalted Reputations. They give you a mount that doesn't fly and looks ugly. I mean, it's kind of better looking than I originally thought, but still, ground mount? Are you kidding me? Like, when am I going to use this? The first 2 patches of any expansion. That's it, and then it's gone. Nice. So, I know you know this, but this is going to be for the benefit of YouTube later, for everyone who's watching later, but this is my reputation tab. So, if you're looking up here, we of course get the guild reputation. That was added in Cataclysm, if I'm not mistaken, and is easily gained. You gain it through pretty much every activity you do, whether that be dungeons or quests or whatever. So as long as you have a guild, you have this. Then we have Battle for Azeroth. So if you're playing WoW right now, you probably know what how this works, right? So all of these, with the exception of Rustbolt Resistance and the Unshackled, which is what I just got, and you can see I still don't have Rustbolt Resistance. So actually, 101 is going to happen like this week for me as well. But except for those two, all of these other ones for this expansion are done through questing and world questing, which is a shame because I kind of did like dungeon grinding. It gave me a reason to play the dungeons more than once each, which is basically, I don't think I've even played every dungeon once each this expansion, so that's bad WoW player. So Rustbolt Resistance then is due to world quests and quests just specifically on Mechagon, and then the Unshackled is quest specifically here in Ashara, or sorry, Nazjatar. So that's Battle for Azeroth. This was the expansion that let me know I was going to be able to get this achievement, because there are 2 reps from Classic that I don't have, that I am never going to have, because they've nerfed them consistently over time until they're so long and hard to get that I just decided I'm not going to do it. Yeah, and you're talking to someone who did the insane achievement and killed goblins and pirates for who knows on how many ungodly amount of time. So that says something. You have to win, like, well, when I get to them, I'll explain it more. But here's Legion. Legion reps were basically done almost all through questing and world questing in those zones, as well as emissaries, which is also a thing that exists this expansion, where sometimes you'll see on your quests, like today, we have Champions of Azeroth, Voldunai, and Tortolan Seekers. Basically, if you do 3 or 4 world quests for each of those, you basically automatically can turn in a quest that gives you a large amount of rep. So that's what you want to see. And a lot of times during Legion and this expansion, I basically didn't do world quests unless there was an emissary quest for that faction, just because I was trying to maximize my time. I didn't want to play too much doing the small gains. We also had Chromie, which doesn't count as an Exalted. This is a friendliness meter, but that was a very good thing in Legion. If you haven't done the Chromie scenarios, I would definitely recommend it. They're very cool. And we had, and that's the right, and we have Talon's Vengeance, which I also don't have, which they also nerfed after they first came out with it. That is a PvP reputation. I do not PvP. You put on an item, which actually I still have on my hotbar, that turned you hostile to everyone. And when you kill them, you got tokens you could turn in. Well, you used to be able to get it from NPCs right when it came out, and I didn't get the pet that you needed to unlock this rep fast enough, and they nerfed it. So I'm not doing it. The only way to do it was in World Quest areas in Legion anyways, so, I mean, those areas are depopulated now, so it's pretty much impossible to get if you didn't get it then, so I just wrote it off. And yeah, that's all of that. Argusian Reach and Armies of Legionfall were added similar to the way they added the 2 reps that I'm just getting now. You got it in special areas in patches after the launch. Warlords of Draenor, this is all easy stuff. This was all quests, turn-ins, and some of them you did get dungeon rep from, but I will say Steamweedle Preservation Society was very easy to grind out. I think I grounded out in 1 play session just because there were item turn-ins you could get. So I didn't actually play during Warlords of Draenor, so all of these you can see were pretty easy to get after the fact, just because you could just do a whole bunch of stuff. And actually, Vol'jin's Headhunters, all the Draenor reps, actually, there was a token you could turn in that would give you rep for all of the Draenor reps, and it was sellable on the auction house. So I happen to have a lot of gold when I came back, so I actually bought a lot of those, which sped it up immensely, because some of these were only in a patch zone and took a little longer, were a little time gated, but you could kind of get around the time gates if you had those items. Mists of Pandaria I also didn't play during, which was a problem for me, because you see, I'm still missing one here. The Black Prince. this was a rep associated with the Legendary Cloak quest line. And since I didn't play, they took that quest line out of the game. And if you didn't at least start it, the rep gains that were possible don't work for you. You could farm enemies for this, and it doesn't work if you never started the quest line. However, you can still get rep for this faction by killing an August Celestial on the Timeless Isle once a week. It gives you 500 rep. So if you're doing quick math here, I have 12,000 rep left, so it will take me another 24 weeks to get that if I do it every week without fail. So that one I'm still working on. It's not bad, not good. The rest of these were all daily quests, basically, all in all the different Pandaria zones. There were some that were niche, like Sunweaver Onslaught was specifically on Isle of Thunder, and the let's see, Shadowpan Assault had to do with the raid on Isle of Thunder. Emperor Xiaohao was Timeless Isles rep, but basically nothing too tricky here. They stopped making tricky rep grinds, which was good for me, but also it was kind of cool to do different things per rep, because then we go back to Cataclysm. These were all world quests, and not really world quests because they didn't exist then, but basically dailies. You did daily quests for these. So there's nothing special here. Cataclysm was cool. I liked a lot of these reps, but basically forgettable. Wrath of the Lich King had a lot of good reps. They had daily quests for reps, and also you could do certain things like the Kalawak, you could do fishing. Sons of Hodir had turn-ins, like world drops that you could turn into them. Stuff like that. Kirin Tor had some special stuff you could get. So pretty good. I really enjoyed this expansion, and I especially enjoyed getting the Ashen Verdict, which was done, that was for Icecrown Citadel. That was the raid rep. And I really miss raid reps. They haven't had them since Wrath of the Lich King. And, oh yeah, that's a good point, Kasi. They had tabards. So in Wrath of the Lich King, you could wear a tabard for your chosen faction. And when you did dungeons, you would get rep for that faction when you killed bosses. So you could kind of pick and choose which one you wanted to do fastest. And then Ashen Verdict was for Icecrown Citadel. So every boss killed in Icecrown Citadel gave you rep. I really enjoyed doing that, and that was in the days of pickup group raids. So I healed for a lot of pickup groups on the Underbog for Icecrown back in the day. And for that reason, it's one of the only raids that still has like good feelings for me, because they don't have raid reps anymore. I don't know why they decided to do away with it, but I guess they just decided it wasn't something players wanted or whatever. But I kind of miss them because they had them in Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King. Same here with the Horde Expedition. They're just same song, different thing, same expansion. Now, Sholazar had the Frenzy Heart and Oracles, which you can't have both at the same time. I wish there was a way to do that. But I have gotten the Oracles and Frenzy Heart both. I maxed the Oracles first to get the achievements and to be able to buy the pets and mount chances. And then I maxed the Frenzy Heart after that. So I do have the achievement for getting the Oracles, but you can't have them concurrently, unfortunately. Burning Crusade. This is the one I had the most fun grinding, especially because when I first started playing WoW, it was right after this expansion ended. So this content was still kind of hard. You couldn't solo a lot of it. I think they were all associated with a dungeon. So like basically you would gain Ash Tongue rep by doing Black Temple or the other dungeon in that zone. Tranquillium was quest. That's like a free rep basically. But honestly, the one of this that I remember the most is Scale of the Sands, which is the Bronze Dragonflight, and I feel like a lot of modern day players don't have this rep, but there's a lot of exploration to be done. I've always liked Caverns of Time. It's one of my favorite zones in all of WoW. And then the other one of note here was the Netherwing. This was not a dungeon associated rep. There are Netherwing Drakes in the Netherstorm, and you basically do dailies with them, and you can find their eggs, which are stolen to turn them in, and there were a ton of mount rewards from them. I mean, like 8 mounts rewarded from this. So that's another thing I miss with reps. Usually reps now have like a few pets and then like 1 mount. When you got the Burning Crusade reps, like each one gave you at least 3 or 4 mounts. And the Netherwing hat is one of the most good looking mounts in the game. If you go look at them, they still look good, and I had them in my favorites until recently still. Because once again, that's another thing that like modern players, a lot of them don't have. Then we had Shatrath, which you notice one here, the Alder, I don't have. That was another pick or choose. Like, you can't have the Scryers and the Alder. So, you know, you just had to pick one and deal with it. Shattered Sun Offensive was the patch rep. There's always a patch rep. So they were the patch rep on the raids that they added north of Silvermoon City. And they had dailies and turn-ins and dungeon rep. So they were pretty quick to get, although it was gated, like you didn't get access to it until you finished a lot of quest lines. So once again, that's another one I feel like a lot of players nowadays didn't experience. Now we have Classic. Classic had the best rep grinds that I had the most fun doing out of all of these, because they had all sorts of stuff, and there was different ways to do it for all of them. Like Argent Dawn had quests. They had, you know, I don't even know actually which of these you can do now, but they had quests in different zones. The Bloodsail Buccaneers. This is one that's part of the Insane, and you get rep with them by killing Booty Bay guards, basically. So you're like, well, that'll ruin all my Goblin City rep. Yes, my Goblin City rep was ruined for a while. But luckily, there are a set of pirates, that is, not associated with the Bloodsail Buccaneers, that you can kill to get your Goblin City's rep back. So you can max your Bloodsail Buccaneers and then go kill pirates in the middle of it's been so long. It's here in Tenaris. They're down here in Land's End Beach, and that zone was changed in Cataclysm, but those pirates are still there, and they still give Booty Bay reps. So that's how you get your Bloodsail Buccaneers maxed. At the same time, you get your Goblin Cities rep maxed. That was a fun one. I watched while I was getting this. This one was actually hard because the Booty Bay guards got upgraded when I was doing this. So I actually, honestly, I had to switch specs just to do this grind so that I could survive killing the guards. Brood of Nozdormu, another one of my favorites. Brawn Dragon's Flight adjacent, having to do with Encourage. So if you've never gone and run Ruins of Encourage 40-man, go do yourself a favor and run that raid right now. It's amazing. It also gives Brood of Nozdormu rep. So you got a certain amount of this before you opened Encourage, and then the rest you had to get by killing the bosses until finally, near the end, only the last 2 bosses give you rep. So it can take a little bit there at the end. Cenarian Circle had quests in Silithus. So there's not much to say there. Darkmoon Faire, I think people are probably still familiar with. Now, when I got this, though, all of these quests didn't exist for Darkmoon Faire when I got it. You had to turn in Darkmoon cards, and oof, that was very pricey on the Underbog. You couldn't really buy the mats because the server population was so low, so that was tricky. Gelki's Clan Centaur and Magnum Clan Centaur, actually, they fixed this recently. You used to not be able to get Exalted with these, and then in Cataclysm, they added a quest line that lets you combine all the Centaur clans and gave you rep with these. But it turns out if you had done the quest before, you couldn't get it. It wouldn't let you do it. So when Legion launched, they actually did a fix where you could go do that quest again, and it would give you, it's the biggest rep gain I've ever gotten at once, because these Centaurs went from like all the way, one of them was all the way hated and the other of them maxed out at friendly before, and they both go from like that to all the way Exalted. I wish I'd taken a screenshot of the reputation gain message, because it was like, you know, the entire amount of reputation gained in one go. Hydraxian Waterlords. This is what got me running Molten Core. The only way to gain rep with them is to run Molten Core, and at the end of it, from Revered to Exalted, you can only get it by killing Ragnaros. So I've run Molten Core quite a lot, and I continued running it after I got this rep to try to get Sulfurous, and I never got it, so I gave up. Ravenholt. This one was a fun one. The only way to get rep with Ravenholt is to turn in junk boxes. So junk boxes are pickpocketed by rogues. The specific junk boxes you need are heavy junk boxes, which are from mobs in the 50 to 60 level range. So my very first ult in this game was a rogue, strictly for me to level it up to 60 and steal these junk boxes. So I made an ult and leveled it just to get these junk boxes, which I mailed one inventory load at a time to this character so that I could turn them in to Ravenholt. Because you don't have to be a rogue to turn it in. You only need to be a rogue to get them. So that one was crazy. Now, I did use a very nice route that went through the dungeons that are in Blackrock Mountain. The lower and upper cities, there's a route you can do and pick all their pockets and then go to the other section and pick all their pockets and then reset the dungeon, and enough time has passed that you can go pick them all again. But you do have to have a mailbox close. You have to basically fly to a mailbox because your inventory gets full rather quickly, and like you have to get rid of these junk boxes, right? So they were sitting in my mailbox for a bit, and luckily this character is an engineer, so when I did the turn-ins, I just popped my mailbox right next to the turn-in, would get them all from the mailbox, turn them in, get them all from the mailbox, turn them in. That was my strategy. I really like this one, even though it basically forced me to level up a separate character just to get it. Chandralar, rest in peace. This faction is removed from the game, and the turn-ins were Librams that were world drops from the Dire Maul area and the Dire Maul dungeons. And these were extremely rare. This was before server merges, and the Underbog did not have high population, and you would see these on the auction house for like many thousands of gold, which back then was a lot, and you had to turn in a lot of them for the rep. So basically, I could have got, if this had remained in the game, I could have gotten it now easily because of the availability of gold and server merges making your population good, but back then it just really wasn't possible. I was helped with the auction house on the Underbog with the BC reps. There were turn-ins you could do for Scryers, which were on the auction house for pretty cheap. I spent a lot of my gold on that. Timber Maul, everybody's favorite. This is a faction of Furbolgs in the winter spring area, and also they're in. Come on, where else are they in? They're also in Fellwood. So you would be killing evil Furbolgs in Fellwood. Now, this faction is still in the game, although it's a little bit different. They're in Timbermaw Hold, and you would have to get friendly with them to be able to travel through there. So I think a lot of Classic players probably got this rep first out of anything. The Zandalar tribe. Now, don't get this mixed up with the Zandalari Empire, which is the rep from this expansion, Battle for Azeroth. They are the same group, but they're different reputations. Zandalar tribe had an NPC in Stranglethorn Vale that you did turn-ins to from drops in the troll-related dungeons of the time. And this rep is no longer in the game. It was removed in Cataclysm, but I've got it. So there we go. If I did not have this rep, which has since been removed, I would have to get Mechagon before I pop this 100 rep achievement. So there's that. And then, of course, the Classic Horde with additions from expansions. But basically, these are easy. You get experience with them for doing related quests. And, I mean, it's a no-brainer. You're going to automatically get them if you do enough old world quests. The PvP reps, I did get Frostwolf Clan because it's AV is fun and it's fast. Vol'jin Spear is the reputation associated with the Warlords of Draenor PvP area, which that area is not very populated anymore. So this actually, I was afraid this was going to be hard for me to get, but it ended up all right. I did do a lot of turn-ins to I spent a lot of gold on turn-ins just to get this, because I didn't want to have to fight so many Ashrun battles when they don't run very often. Like, the queue is very long. Warsong Outriders and the Defilers, I'm still missing. They're still friendly. because both of these reps used to be way easier to get. There was a turn-in you could do with honor tokens that basically made this effortless in Classic. But by the time I was playing, you had to either gain resources for defilers or get flag captures with Warsong Outriders to get rep with them. And in Cataclysm, which is when I was finally at a spot to work on PvP reps, they stealth nerfed these. They didn't put it in the patch notes. They wouldn't admit if it was a bug or nerf. And they vastly nerfed the amount of rep gain you get. So now, to get defilers, for instance, you would have to get the equivalent amount of resources of like 2,500 wins in here. So maybe I'll work on them one day, but literally when I have nothing else on my games list and nothing else to do in WoW, which seems unlikely because I'm in a kind of a game hole right now, and I will be probably for the rest of my life because I'm just never caught up. So those are probably never going to happen. Steam Weedle Cartel is the Goblin Cities. You can see I'm exalted with them. Had to kill a ton of pirates. Funny anecdote here. I actually watched the entire catalog of the original Twilight Zone series while I was killing pirates for this. I mean, it was literally be in goes to a form, press auto attack, press tab, press auto attack, press tab, press auto attack. I mean, just circling and circling and circling because they respawn at the just perfect rate. I don't even want to think about how many hours it took. I mean, I would know if I looked at how long the original Twilight Zone series is, but this was by far the longest classic rep grind that I did, believe it or not, because I had these at all the way hated. Ouch. And Syndicate, they're impossible to get. Blizzard hates you. That's why they do this. You cannot get rep. These are lies. You cannot get rep with Syndicate. You can make them not hated. You can kill Ravenhold organization people to get them to neutral, but you cannot ever be any sort of friendly reputation with them. So, sorry, I don't know why Blizzard did that. They did that with the Centaur clans in Classic as well. They just had reputations that were impossible to get. I think that's a carryover from older MMOs like EverQuest where that was the case. Like, every faction in the game had reputation regardless of whether you could get it or not, just so that the game could calculate certain things with it. I don't know why they kept it though. So, and that's it. That's it. We got the 100 reps. Let's look at my reputation achievement tab. So, just to flex a little bit, this is the reputation achievement tab, the main tab. There's the 100. And I got the 50 Exalted reputations, which was the original, the Exalted title, a long time ago, like during Wrath of the Lich King, I got it. We got all the allied races that are possible right now for me. I probably need some alliance ones from this expansion, if I had to guess, because I haven't done Kulturas yet, so that's what I'm still working on. But we got all these diplomat titles. I don't have. They put this in the reputation tab, even though it has nothing to do with reputation. It kind of bothers me, like leveling up fresh allied characters to get the heritage armor. I don't understand. It doesn't have anything to do with reputation. So now this I do need to get still, the allied races on my alliance alt, which I've been waiting till I had flying to basically play. We got all the classics, all the Burning Crusade, all the Wrath of the Lich King, all the Cataclysm, almost all the Pandaria, because they started adding stuff where you have to do certain things. So I didn't finish the Shadow Pan, not because I can't, but only because while I was maxing them, the quests I needed never showed up, and I basically was like, whatever. Friends on the Farm, I'm never going to get that. It's a pain in the butt. You have to become friendly with every single character in the Tillers. Not worth it. Draenor, pretty much, yep, have everything. Talon King and Queen is a great title, by the way. You should go get Exalted with Erakoa Outcasts if you don't have it just for that title. It's pretty sweet. Especially if you're like any sort of shadow-themed RP character. We got Legion. Just missing Paragon of the Broken Isles, which had to do with earning Paragon supplies. They added that in Legion, which is where you can continue gaining rep after Exalted, and you get like a prize for every 10,000 rep you get. But honestly, I grind rep enough. I'm not going to grind it more for random rewards. If it was guaranteed rewards, I would think about it for sure. But it's not. And the Battle for Azeroth. So I'm still looking for Rust Bolt. That's my last reputation achievement for this expansion. So that's it. Thanks for showing up, everybody who did. And if you're watching this on YouTube later, feel free to ask me any questions in the comments. I'll pay attention and try to answer whatever questions you have. Cool.